We're live. Yes.
We are live. Okay.
We are live. Welcome to today's show. This is Confessions of a Global Changemaker. And today I'm getting down and dirty with a very dear friend of mine who, I feel like I've known for at least a million lifetimes already, although we literally met, I think it was just before Christmas.
It was in London, so for JVology. So it really does feel like I've known you forever.
Well, we kind of have known each other forever, or I feel like I've known you forever anyway, because way back when, I mean, I've been in business since 2002, and this was quite early on in my business. Somebody recommended to me that I really should look into this amazing tool called Spiral Dynamics. And we had our team go through the process, and we brought this expert in, and they delivered all the training around it, and it was fantastic. And our whole team transformed as a result of the better communication between each other, the way that we knew ourselves, which meant that we did it for the business, but it impacted on everyone outside of the business as well. Hello to those of you that are joining us and watching. Come and say hi. And then I get chatting to this beautiful woman in front of us at Jay's event, and we didn't even connect in a massive way. But then Natasha reached out to me after that. We jump online, and she starts talking about her business. And I'm like, wait, hang on a minute, Spiral Dynamics. So you're into Spiral Dynamics? I founded it.
The book was written by my husband.
Yeah.
And we co-created the certification and the programs and the materials and the templates. So
I know. And so I was like, whoa, hang on a minute. What? You actually invented this amazing thing that I've been using in my business for all of these years. She's like, uh-huh. And when you meet somebody and you get a little bit starstruck, well, I was that little starstruck person, because I was like, fucking hell, you've designed something that is just extraordinary in life, business, teams, global organizations. Literally, you've created a tool that has become so scalable that you're able to certify people doing it. And I know that you've learned a lot going through that process. But for those people that are watching this now, bearing in mind what's going on economically and globally right now, there's a lot of people that are thinking, how the freaking hell do I scale what I've got in my head? How do I take that out of my head and turn it into something that millions of people on the planet can get access to? And so it excites me so much to invite you to be on here and share with us how you did it, because I'm sure it wasn't an easy journey.
There was no part of this that was easy. None of it. And, if I hadn't met the love of my life, and, I didn't believe in soulmates and all that crap, but seriously, I do now. If it wasn't for Chris and our relationship and, who we were to one another and who we were together, I probably would have quit a long, long time ago. Because this stuff is it's not easy. Just as hard as it is to see the virus that we have now, this stuff is hard to see. And when a master makes it easy for you to see it in the real life and in the real world, then it feels like, oh, I get it. And the damage that we've seen happen with this approach and the miracles that we've seen all at the same time are just awe-inspiring and terrifying simultaneously.
Yeah. And so I suppose, with the Spiral Dynamics, I suppose the methodology, what would it be? It's like a spirit. It's the spirit of your organization. When you were branding Spiral Dynamics with your husband all those years, I mean, how old is Spiral Dynamics now? It's been going.
So research, Sammy, was started back in the 50s.
Yeah.
And Claire Graves was doing the research. In the last decade of his life, he and Chris were super close. Chris was up there in New York State every quarter because of the work that he was doing with the military. So he earned his stripes by shoveling the horse stalls and fixing electric fences and, working the farm and, just working with graves.
Yeah.
And the material was transferred to us. Chris spent a decade almost working on the Spiral Dynamics book before it got out. And I joined the organization back in 1998. And Chris and I, it was that, 2 suction cups. We met, we stuck together, and we were not separate from one another more than 10 or 20 feet for 18 years.
Wow.
Before, until he died and left me.
Oh, and I mean, this is really quite an extraordinary story because, we see these entrepreneurs that are creating world change, who are genuine, massive, genuine one-droppreneurs, creating enormous ripple effects on a global scale. And, we tend to think that these are people that are, like totally different to us. They're totally different. Oh, I could never be like that. I'm not big enough. I'm not strong enough. I'm not, enough. There's a lot of people that think they're not enough to create something that could really make a difference to others on a global scale. There's a lot of people questioning themselves right now that have built amazing businesses who have now gone out of business, that are thinking, what do I even do next? And, when you go through something as soul destroying as losing a business, and I know because I've been there, when you go through something as soul destroying as that, there's almost this joke in larger circles where it's like, well, if you haven't been bankrupt, then you haven't got a business. It's like, you've got to go through that experience to really value what you have now.
And to value the effort that other people are putting in, because as a business owner, you know what you're putting in. And when you recognize that in yourself, you know that your suppliers and your customers and what they're putting in and the heartache and the heartbreak that they're going through, it just helps you empathize much more, because it's not an easy thing to build and hold and maintain a business and service customers and, build new products and new services and then keep going at a time like this when the entire world feels like it's just shut down.
Totally. Well, I'm assuming that a lot of your business is now done either remotely or through certified practitioners, other people that are delivering that. My husband's just walked through, so I can imagine the dogs are going to kick off big time in a minute. If they're quiet, that's going to be amazing. But, at a time like this, how would you recommend other people take what they know and turn it into something that can be certified, that can be broadcast on a global level?
Well, as you know, our approach is biopsychosocial systems. So biologically, we can do our very best to avoid the virus and to boost our immune system and to stay as healthy as possible and not spread it. So that's really critical right now, is that staying healthy piece. The psycho or the psychological, we've got a mind game going, right? Because all of the messages socially are, this is topsy-turvy, we're in danger, we're going to die, it's going to be horrible. And, not to take away from the serious nature of what's happening, there are people who are dying. But the mind game is everything is chaotic. There are multiple messages going simultaneously. We're seeing people closing. We're seeing people going bankrupt. We're seeing people losing their jobs. And as entrepreneurs, we need to focus and we need to accurately, in a reality-based way, evaluate what is our current day now. Not do the blinders, but what is current day now? Is this an opportunity to kick back, take some time, build that next program? Is it an opportunity to reach out to customers that maybe because you've been so frantically working and stuff, you haven't been keeping touch with those customers that you have had on the back burner. It's time to check in and find out how people that you love, your dear friends, your family maybe that you've been out of touch with, how they're doing. So really in this time of, for a lot of people, it's social isolation. And you and I have spoken and we're like, well, this is kind of how we work, right? It's, a normal day at the office, right? But reaching out, keeping connected, building those bridges, connecting more deeply, taking time to share with others your experience, their experience, connecting with customers. That gets you through that mind game. And that also helps penetrate some of that chaotic social messaging that says, you're going to die, hide, or you're going to
Right. And I think, all of these things that you just mentioned, they're things that we need to be doing anyway. But I think what's happened is we've lost sight of what customer care actually is. We've lost sight of what real community is, when it became so virtual. And, I've got many communities that I'm managing, that I'm part of, and it's wonderful having this online connection. And I also think that there are a lot of groups that are literally just kind of, feeding from the top down instead of getting everybody involved from the ground up. And those ground up, those grassroots level businesses, they're actually the communities that I'm seeing flourishing the most right now. And
our larger joint venture community is really, yes, cautious, yes, concerned, yes, our hearts are, with people who are really struggling with this, but we're connecting in some amazing ways. And it's really gratifying to be in touch with people like you, Sammy, where, we're just, as you said earlier, it's like we've been friends forever.
Yes.
We can just hop on a call real quick and go, this is what we're doing and how do I support you? And this is what I'm doing. And maybe we could do this together and then just come up with something.
I tell you, it's been a brilliant day. Like I've had so many conversations. I've had at least 4 conversations today with people who have contacted me and said, right, how can we work together? What can we do? And they're conversations that might not have happened had we not been, I suppose, forced into that position, not because we don't want to work together, but because you just don't think of it when you're getting on with the day-to-day stuff. Everybody's running a busy business. But there's actually a lot of busy messes instead of businesses that are actually starting to crystallize the way that they were working before. Look at their working practices, systems, automation. Now, Natasha, for you to have such an enormous global business, automation must have been a massive part of your strategy. But was it always that way?
No, it was relationships. It was truly relationships. We had supporters on 5 continents in about 15 different countries who were passionate about the work we were doing together, who were reaching out to their communities, and who were talking to people about this stuff called, what is that, spiral what? What do you want me to do?
Spiral Dynamics just has such a good name as well. It's like, it just kind of rolls off the tongue.
So easily. It's just one of those intuitive brands. You know exactly what it means.
And so, like you automate it now, and literally we were just chatting today and you got me set up on a system and it was so simple. But like you say, it comes down to relationships, doesn't it? Even if you automate your business, the relationship still has to be at the heart of that. I know so many people that have said to me over the years, but Sammy, I don't want to automate my business because then I'm going to lose touch with my customers. And it's like, well, no, the more you automate your business, the more you can be in touch with your customers. Because if you're not sat behind your desktop trying to send emails to everybody, and you could actually be on a phone with someone instead because your business is automatically doing its job, you've actually got more time to be with people in a physical capacity. I mean, you speak a lot. You speak a lot. You're running events all the time. And you've got this amazing summit that you're literally launching to inspire the socks off of every entrepreneur in the country. Tell us a little bit about your upcoming summit.
And I am thrilled and delighted to have you on it.
Yeah.
So, putting the pieces of this together going, okay, we've got like 36 different speakers. We've got people speaking on how to manage your fear. We've got people speaking on how to better automate and go online with your business. We've got people talking about how to be the leader for your tribe in these tumultuous times and how to be resilient and all of that. And that wouldn't have happened, A, without the automation, but B, without the relationships. So we've got to tackle both, because we can kind of automate ourselves into isolation and oblivion, because we're still humans. We're still people. We need connection. And as I was going through what everyone is contributing, I realized that this is going to, in effect, be a social distancing survival guide. Right? Because if we have to social distance, and we're going to do that for the next 30, 60, maybe 90 days, there are going to be people who you might be the leader of the tribe, and you're figuring out, how do I engage them? How do I uplift? How do I keep people connected? How do I keep them from despair? How do I help them tackle those mind games that they're playing with themselves, that they're playing with one another, with this invisible thing that we're all tackling? How do I be that leader and supporter and mobilizer and uplifter, the one who gives my tribe wings in the face of something that's inexplicable, where behavior isn't yet clarified, where we don't know what to do next, and where all the messages around us are chaotic and confused? How do I, as a leader, uplift, build resilience, build intelligence around this, make sure my tribe is smart about this, and step up as the leader that I need to be for them? And if those are some of the questions you're asking, this is the perfect summit for you.
Fabulous. I mean, like, who wouldn't want to go to that? And I'm sure there's so many connections. You've got the most amazing speaker lineup. There's a lot of people on your lineup that I'm like, oh my goodness, they're amazing. I can't wait to meet them.
I'm so excited.
Be on that global
stage. It's not the right way to be talking during a global epidemic, but I am stoked.
But there's so much opportunity. There's opportunity, and lives can change.
Well, and it's what they're offering. You know, everyone's offering from their heart, from their talent, from their skill, everything that they've got to contribute to one another's communities. So, you know, it's that your ripple effect, I'm amplifying your ripple effect. You're amplifying my ripple effect. Now multiply that over 30 or 36, or I lost count.
I mean, it's just amazing. And I'm very much looking forward to talking about how to turn your one drop into a global movement. So for guys and girls, you know, if you want to come along and be inspired and meet some amazing entrepreneurs who maybe you haven't been exposed to before, you know, these are genuine ripple makers all over the world that have been doing the most intense and insane stuff, but they're not doing it for the ego. So you might never have heard of some of these people before. Like, I've heard of these people because, you know, this is the landscape really that we are in. But if you haven't heard of the people that are going to be at this summit, then I really encourage you to check them out, because there are potential joint venture partners, people who can add massive value to your community. Maybe you could add a value to their community. So join the summit and get to know the other people, the other leaders, the other speakers that are there, because I'm pretty sure that you could create a global ripple effect together with them and take your businesses not only to another level, but take all of those amazing customers that are going to benefit from that partnership opportunity of what you can do. And I love what you're bringing together, Natasha. It's such brilliant timing.
Well, there are also some amazing gifts. Every speaker's doing a gift, and I'm so excited to be talking to you and introducing you to my tribe and everyone else's tribes, because the magic that you're doing, people need to hear about it. So this and this, you know, usually it's kind of more of a US thing, and I'm not sure about you, maybe it's more of a UK thing, but because my tribe is global, in about 50 different countries, this is going to be a global event. And so you can meet people and You can there's some, like I said, amazing gifts from the speakers, very cool stuff. And some of the conversation is going to be absolutely mind-blowing for your business.
Yeah.
And, we've got Brady. He's going to be talking about how to joint venture and resources for joint venturing. Jay's going to talk about how to be the leader of your tribe.
I love Jay. I've got so much time for Jay.
He's amazing, and he's doing a bunch of work now, which is perfectly timed about our own personal development, and who we need to be, and how to transform ourselves to show up as the next best iteration of ourselves, as the leader that our tribe need. We've got Catherine. She is talking about how to be a difference maker or an impact organization. And if you're taking your organization to B Corp, well, that's the one to listen to. We've got Linda, who's talking about how to conquer and master those fear gremlins. So if fear is something that you're tackling, she's going to have some tools and tips and techniques for that. We've got just some incredibly inspiring folks showing up. It's going to take like hours to do it.
and just the management of that, I applaud you just for the management of bringing all of this together and bringing it all together so systematically as well. Guys, if you're thinking about putting on your own virtual summit or your online summit, I would advise that you sign up to this anyway, so that you get to learn. This is how a proper online virtual summit should be run. This is how it really should work.
You have to be good with herding epileptic cats. That's what entrepreneurs are. We are that.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah, I definitely can resonate there. Guys and girls that are watching this now, just in the comments, just let us know, what business are you in? Because again, it's another opportunity for you to share with the other people on this call what you do and why you do it. Because I'm interested in the why you do what you do. So Natasha, tell us about, you've been doing this a long time. You've impacted on so many millions of lives, both like in a one-to-one respect, but also through all of the practitioners, all the people that you've certified, the people that are going through your books. I mean, there's so many ways that you're reaching lives globally. Like right now in this moment, you're in so many living rooms, right? You're in so many offices.
It's kind of weird to think, but you're right. We are.
You are, literally. People are taking you to bed with them, I'm sure. As you've built that, there must have been like some really challenging things that have happened to you over the years. I mean, like to even name one of them would be like, well, but is there a time, this is the confession show after all, is there a confession that you have that you haven't really spoken that much about over the years, but it's something that's happened to you in business that you'd say, oh my goodness, right? If I did that again, I would never do it that same way again. Like, what would be that thing for any entrepreneur that's going through it or moving towards it? What's that thing that you think, oh, I'd never do it that way again, so that they can learn from it?
There are a couple of things, and I can be pretty blunt, and I've always had a bit of a skill to get to the core sometimes of what really hurts for folks, and I haven't always managed that well. And being blunt makes the owies hurt more. So I got into a business relationship, and it was a partnership, and I won't say with whom. But it was hard because I thought, my bluntness would help me get out of the situation and fix the situation. So part of what I was trying to do was fix the person. And the other part of it was just very practical business. I didn't put together a proper contract. I didn't think I needed to. I figured it was a back of the envelope agreement. And this was the person I believed would stick to their word. And what I learned from that was get a proper contract with a proper lawyer. B, never get into a contractual agreement with somebody who is not intending to abide by their word. Because you can slam them over the head with all kinds of legal things, but if they refuse to do any part of what they promised to do or what they agreed to do, you can have the best contract ever. It's going to cost you way more to try and force them to do something that in the end probably has no value.
Right.
And the destruction to my brand, to my reputation, to the people around me, to my friendships, because if I had checked and really done my background homework on this person, I would have realized that there was a terrible amount of crazy that no drugs could have helped.
Wow.
Do the background.
What could you have done? Like, what kind of research could you have done to have found that out?
If I had been smart, I would have not jumped in so quickly. I would have watched how this person was treating other people. I should have also really paid attention to, the voices inside your head and the dog. At the time, seriously, Sammy, at the time I had a Russian wolfhound, 140-pound, beautiful. His mother or grandmother was a Westminster winner of breed, right? Beautiful dog. When he walked by this person, he did something I'd never noticed him do before, which was he curled up on his toes, went completely rigid, and the back hairs of his neck were standing on end. I was like, now it's obvious. Back then it was like, wow, that's kind of weird.
Like, wow, that's actually a very real test. It's a very real test and a sure.
My dog is a test.
Yeah, but I mean, because I've had relationships, and partnerships like that. For those of you, who else on the call has ever been into a business partnership that didn't quite work, or yeah, I think. No, it happens.
I'm the only person who misjudges situations.
No, definitely not. I had to come out of a business partnership very painfully in December, just before a major event, and they were supposed to be speaking at the event as well. So you just get on with it, don't you? But all the signs, and you think, oh, I wish I'd have listened to my gut, or that voice, as you say, in your head. There's so many things that stack up after the fact, aren't there? But I think when you go into a business relationship, you go into it with those rose-tinted glasses. You want it to work. And so, if you like a person, there's so many things that you can just kind of sweep under the carpet and say, oh, well, that's okay.
I was looking at the potential. And as women, we love to grow the potential.
Yes. Yeah.
Never grow the potential.
Yeah.
When people show up and they show up as they are, if we can't, and that's one of the things that struck me, is if I can't love this person the way they are, if I can't work with what they've got, and this is not enough, then let's not continue this. And if I can't see the beauty of what is without having to grow them, and I lost that, 20 some odd years ago, right? But that was the space my head was in when I was trying to make something that never would have worked and that was impossible to work.
Yeah. So how would you use spiral dynamics now to be able to choose the right people coming into your life and your organization?
I do that almost all the time now, but it took a lot of screw up to really use the material well. I think a lot of people look at this approach and they go, oh, it's, it's like the colors above my head there, right? They think it's a bunch of colors, and you throw out a bunch of colors and you got people. And it really isn't. It's as invisible as this current virus is right now. And you've got to know how to do a proper analysis, and you've got to know how to do a good background check. And people show up as their best selves usually, you know, at the beginnings of relationships.
Yeah.
And things kind of move along, then you get to know people better. And then what you thought was shiny and fun isn't so much fun anymore, or isn't as cute anymore, or, you know, that quirk isn't a quirk, it's a personality flaw. Right. So you've got to get down to, you know, what's this deep connection? How do we connect in a way? Because by our relationships, we can't not impact one another. You and I in this conversation are sparking one another's brain cells, and we are weaving together one another's neurology, and we are creating a relationship which is reverberating out to others as they're invited into this connection that we have. So in this connection, if we can make each of them be the most possible for each of us, if we can find ways to invite others openly, when Chris and I would stand in front of a room, you know, we would do it with love in our heart for one another, which spreads to the rest of that room,
Yeah.
enveloping that room in that magical relationship. So if we can create that in that relationship, we uplift, but not by the purposeful, I'm going to make you into what I want you to be.
Yeah. Yeah, and I totally resonate with that, and maybe those of you watching this now can resonate with that too. Is that you go into a relationship, and sometimes, you know, like it's all brilliant at the beginning because, as you say, you bring your best self into it, and then you start to notice little things, and that wasn't right, but you ignore it, and then there's another little thing, and that wasn't right, and it starts to become like a bit of a Jenga, like, you know, oh shit, you know, it becomes so much that if you were to pull one, all of a sudden everything would come crashing down. And that's certainly what I've experienced in business partnerships before. But, you know, when you go into joint venture partnerships, it's slightly different, and you have more control over how you get out there and really create an impact together. And for those of you that are watching that are thinking about joint venturing, or maybe you've never thought about joint venturing, and well, that would be a big mistake not to think about partnering with other people to get your brand out there. Natasha, you've used joint venturing in a beautiful way to be able to really scale what you're doing. Do you want to tell us a little bit about how you've used joint ventures to build your brand?
Well, a lot of different ways. I could not have gone global without all the amazing partners who have been passionate about this approach, who've been passionate about serving their tribes and their customers and exposing this work to their tribes. So that was, I mean, that's an simple example of a joint venture that most people wouldn't even believe or consider to be a joint venture, but it really was. You know, when somebody believes in you enough to say, you know what, I'm going to expose you to my best customers, and you're coming to the UK, or you're coming to Australia, or you're coming to Italy, or you're coming to South Africa, or Ecuador, or Brazil. I mean, that's massively touching and moving and honoring. And when that happens and you've got these amazing relationships with people, it causes you to want to step up and be the best version of yourself. And you start showing up like that more and more and more and more, that becomes the you that's stepping out all the time. So put yourself in these situations where you can rise up to be that next best iteration of yourself, where your customers and your joint venture partners and their customers are challenging you to be better. That's how we grow. That's what we're put on the planet for, to grow ourselves and our own potential.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I just think you've built such a beautiful business, Natasha. And like I say, I feel like I've known you for years and years and years. And
I'm sure we have.
It's so funny how we've connected. And, you know, obviously with you becoming part of One Drop and us looking at how we can really take the One Drop movement out to the world as well. You know, it's such a pleasure and an honor to be working with you and to have you as a fellow One Dropreneur.
Well, and that's a joint venture, right? I mean, this entire summit would not have come together without this giving approach of a massively enlightened and striving to be better and striving to contribute community of which you're a part. And being parts of these sorts of communities is the kind of thing that, again, uplifts and it amplifies messages and it amplifies results. And we touch more lives with the magic that we can create. And that's what we're, remember what you brought to this world to do. And don't let stuff get in the way of that. And don't let those mind games get in the way of that. Focus on that result. And there are people in joint venture communities like ours who would love to A, be friends with you, B, work with you, C, be supported by you, D, be touched by you and your work. It helps everybody.
Such a beautiful community.
Is bringing us together. And the willingness to be in relationship is what actually makes the things happen. Automation doesn't make it happen. It eases the connections and the relationships so that they can happen more fluidly across geographies, across pandemics. Yeah.
Definitely. Well, guys and girls, we've come to the end of our interview, and I'm very sad about that. Although you can get a whole load more of Natasha by joining her amazing summit. I'm just going to pop it up on the screen here again now. So the Spiral Dynamics Connection and Transformation Summit. Tell us a bit more about the dates and everything, Natasha. Is this a paid-for event? Do they get a free ticket? Like, how does it work?
Oh, okay. So it's starting tomorrow. 7 a.m. California time, and we're going to 6 p.m. California time. And you can go ahead, you can register. If you attend the speakers and the event live, it is totally free. If you would like to go back, review some of the speakers, review some of the content, you can VIP upgrade. That will get you a whole new set of gifts and full access to all the speakers on your own time. We're going to upload it to the portal, and you'll be able to just consume at will when needed, as desired, and review any pieces you want. And, again, a whole new host of gifts. If you're live, you'll get gifts. If you don't want to do it live, just upgrade. It's $97. And I think when we calculated the value, it's something like $5K if you consumed all of the gifts.
Yeah, easily. Oh, Natasha, thank you so much for coming and sharing the amazing global work that you're doing. Guys and girls, do connect with Natasha. She's absolutely amazing, and has now joined the How to Build a Brand group, so you can connect with Natasha from this group. I implore you, in fact, to look at Spiral Dynamics and bringing it into your business and how you're starting to build your teams, build yourself, build your networks, and to be able to catch and nip those little gremlins in the bud when they want to come partner with you and they're not the right partner for you. You can catch it way in advance, as well as your gut instinct. There are also ways that in black and white you can see whether they would be able to be a good partner for you. Do go and sign up to the virtual summit. The worst that can happen is that you leave with more tools, more resilience, more robustness, and a better fucking business, quite frankly, by the end of it. So just go for it. Please share it out with your networks as well. You just never know who is in your network that will become a part of it and come back and thank you. And you might not have even known that they've seen you share that, but they went and changed their life as a result of that. We just don't know where anyone is right now, do we? With isolation, they could be sat there just, thinking the very worst about their business and their life.
They are. And they are. The people, and they are.
Yeah.
And that's why we're having people like you, Sammy, be the model and the leader and the visionary, and you're on as well. And I'm so excited to be talking to you.
We're going to be talking about how we can create many, many more ripples together. How do we not only just step out there and think about ourselves, but in the process of thinking of others, how do we really create that global ripple making impact? So I'm very, very excited about coming and sharing that.
Ripple makers.
Yes, we are. Guys and girls, thank you so much for showing up for yourselves and for each other. And Natasha, thank you so much. This was a last minute, hey, you should come on the show today. And so she made herself available in the middle of organizing an entire summit, running a global business, doing all kinds of partnerships and things. She made herself available for you. So Natasha, thank you so, so much from the bottom of my heart to yours. And I look forward to seeing the start of the summit tomorrow. Guys and girls, I will be sending an email out as well. So look out for that. If you can't get through to the summit using that link, I will email you, and I'm sure you'll see some extra stuff coming out from me about that. So take care, have an amazing evening, day, morning, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. I'm sending you big love, health, wellness, sending you all those juicy vibes that keep you at the top of your game, and we will see you at the summit and in the group. So take care, Natasha. Thank you. Mwah.
Thank you, Sammy. Big hugs to you. We'll see you real soon. Take care, guys. It's been a true pleasure. Keep making those drops happen.
Yeah.